Hello and welcome to the third round of the HSBC UK Men's National Road Series. We're here in Lancaster for a brand new race in the calendar. It's certain to be a tough day in the saddle to add to the great racing we've seen so far. Last time we were in Lincoln for the historic Grand Prix. The racing was flat out and constantly evolving. But in the end, it was Canyon DHB, powered by Blorholm's rider Tom Stewart, who crossed the line first on Michaelgate to take his second win in this race. In the first race of the season, the Klondike Grand Prix, it was Stewart's teammate Rory Townsend who took the win from a three-rider breakaway. So after a tough race in Lincoln, this is how the series standings look. Matt Holmes is best of the bunch after finishing 5th and 4th in the first two rounds of racing. The Madison Genesis rider is on 46 points, with St Piran man Steve Lampier 8 points back in second. Rory Townsend, who won the opening round East Cleveland Klondike, sits third on 30 points.
It's not unknown territory for me. This is where I used to come training. I've raced around the circuit quite a lot in previous years, so it should be good for me, I hope.
This year's HSBC UK National Road Series is made up of 10 races across the country. At each round, there are 30 points up for grabs for the winner. The rider with the most points at the end of the series wins the crown. It's as simple as that. The riders are also competing as teams for a place in the OVO Energy Tour of Britain. Here are the standings as we head into Lancaster.
It's a new race for everybody, so there might be a little bit of apprehension. Could be aggressive, it could be raced either way, but for us, I think numbers is key.
Connor Swift, your national champion, has left the team. How difficult a decision was it to see him go?
Of course, as a team, we miss him hugely. You know, this is what the team exists for, really, is to give these guys a stepping board to the highest level of the sport. And you know, Connor with the opportunity to potentially ride the Tour de France this year, I mean, that's for us is fantastic. We're very excited about Lancaster because actually it's a circuit that suits all 8 riders that are starting this race for us.
After doing the race, that'll be a really tough climb. So if you get a gap over there, then there's a good chance that you'll hold it all the way.
And obviously we're aware that we need to qualify for Tour of Britain as well, so I mean that's one of our aims. So I think like an attacking, aggressive race, we want to get someone up there and to get some points in the bag to qualify for Tour of Britain.
Trying to get my body into doing 4 or 5 hour races instead of 1 hour criterium. So on paper it should suit me. I know the roads reasonably well, having trained on them before, but yeah, we'll see how it comes really.
I think it'll be harder than Klondike, so nobody wants to chase all day, so yeah, first hour will be crucial.
The race will start and finish at the iconic landmark Ashton Memorial in Williamson Park, Lancaster, and will cover a hilly 100-mile course featuring 7 laps of a circuit based largely on roads in the famous Forest of Bowland area of outstanding natural beauty. Namesake to its county, the city of Lancaster lies in the northwest of Lancashire, not far from the coast, and hosts the inaugural edition of the Lancaster Grand Prix, the third round of the HSBC UK National Road Series. A city small in size, but steeped in history, Lancaster has plenty on offer for visitors. Its medieval castle started its life as a Roman fort, but what stands today was founded in 1086. It was used as a prison until 2011 and is now open to the public. Next door is the Lancaster Priory, founded around the same time as the castle on an existing church. It attracts visitors from all over. After a processional roll through the city, the race will start and ultimately finish from Williamson Park at the foot of the Ashton Memorial. Dubbed the Taj Mahal of the North, the memorial was built in the early 1900s by Lord Ashton in memory of his second wife, and its hilltop location provides views across Lancashire. The race may start and finish in the city, but it largely takes place in the nearby Forest of Bowland, an area of outstanding natural beauty. Bowland stretches out over 800 square kilometres across Lancashire and North Yorkshire, with the route taking the race through the surrounding villages, including Abbeystead, home of Abbeystead House. The hilly terrain of the Forest of Bowland provides a perfect backdrop for the principal edition of this race. So the stage is set, our riders rolling out of HQ right now. Time to join them on the start line with our commentators Declan Quigley and James McCallum.
It's all set to go on round 3 of the HSBC UK National Road Series. 160 kilometres of tough road racing in Lancashire for the riders today. And the inaugural Lancaster Grand Prix, and it really is wonderful that we've got such a wonderful new addition to the road racing calendar. Great to see new events coming in.
Absolutely, and it's also great to be back in the real meat of the road race season here. A lot of these riders have been riding the circuit race series recently, and now it's time to see who's got the road legs today.
Yeah, well, fully 100 miles of bike racing for them, 2,600 metres of climbing for the riders. It's going to be grippy as they race out of the Williamson Park, past the Ashton Memorial, and then through the scenic Forest of Bowland area of outstanding natural beauty, and it certainly is all of that. Heading towards circuit, popular with local road racers, 18.3 kilometre circuit to be undertaken a total of 7 times, and then back home to finish in the in Williamson Park. The first meaningful attack coming from Team Wiggins, and it's Ben Healy, the Irish national junior time trial champion, that has decided to venture forth. Wonder if anyone will be tempted to move across to the young rider who's in his first season with Team Wiggins, making a bit of a name for himself.
Yeah, currently holding around a 15-second gap here. It doesn't look like there's much interest back in the bunch. A lot of people probably looking at each other, but it looks like there's a small reaction coming up behind with also one of his teammates. Looks like maybe Rob Scott.
So Rob Scott tempted to come across, or perhaps replace Healy at the front. I wonder, is Healy going to realise that as Scott comes charging through, gives him a shout, and Healy tries to respond, and that's all serving to stretch it thin here. There's a few riders being leaked out the back, but still quite a big group altogether at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see all the main protagonists of this race now marching around, and now we've got a big move at the front. He looks like potentially Max Stedman from Canyon DHB.
Chris McGlinchey goes on the attack on one of these interminable grippers. There's so many climbs along the way today. It really is going to be an arduous experience, and Chris McGlinchey, the Irish rider, just trying to draw clear of the rest, and that's serving to thin the group out a little bit behind.
I tell you what, Declan, he's caused a fair amount of carnage there. You really got an impression of just how steep these little kickers are around on this circuit, and you can see the bunches in one big line. It looks potentially there's a small split there.
Yeah, a bit of a headwind as well. It's going to make it tough for the riders, especially if there is a split, to try and cover the gap. McGlinchey just settles into the hurt on this particular drag to see what sort of group is going to draw clear. A new move starting to establish itself.
Absolutely, it's split to bits. Looks maybe 10 to 15 riders here, and Edmund Bradbury from Mimulls.cc is not willing to hang around today. He's looking to really press on, and everyone else is looking over their shoulders. Yeah,
some big names in here. Bradbury joined by some of the select group, and the big names from the big teams, as you might expect, starting to assemble at the front and trying to see whether it's this one is worth persevering with. Alex Richardson at the back, just looking around to see who's coming across. A very significant rider has finally arrived in.
I tell you what, when a man of that calibre, James Shaw, comes across their breakaway, you know it really means business.
So they're going to try and change the rotation and try and keep everyone involved, because they've noticed that this has distanced many of the riders. A lot of significant riders have missed out on this move as well if they try to get frantically organised behind. But the nature of the terrain today is going to make it tough to get back in. It's a day for the strongmen.
Yeah, it's one of those days when 10 seconds actually feels like it's 30 seconds to cross, but you can just see it's just grinding away. Things are coming back together, then it's slowly sliding away as Bradbury's really want to keep on pressing on here.
Across the crosswind section at the top of the hill, and Chris McGlinchey through to the front once more as the cracks start to develop. Tollett in his wheel, Cam Jeffers there as well, having a little anxious look around, and the riders are feeling the pinch a little bit, and Jeffers looks as if he wants to press on and try and press home his advantage.
Absolutely, you can see a smart move there by Jeffers. He had a little look over his shoulder. You can see that his teammate Stephen Lampere and also Wiggins rider Rob Scott were just blocking the front of the bunch, and he's taking that advantage and he's pushing on now. He's want to try and get away.
Yeah, Cam Jeffers, the 22-year-old, he's the British e-racing national champion. He goes pretty good outdoors as well, doesn't he? And he's bringing with him for fun Ed Bradbury, the man from Memel Pro Cycling. It's a Swedish registered team, and he's scored some very significant successes in the UCI Continental Circuit, second overall in the Tour of Morocco in 2019, showing the sort of calibre of a rider that Ed Bradbury is.
Yeah, he's an absolute strong rider, and I tell you who else is a strong rider just coming across there, the man at the back, John Archibald from Ribble Pro Cycling. This man is an absolutely phenomenal athlete.
Yeah, John Archibald is, of course, the national champion in the individual pursuit and has done so many amazing things on the world stage as part of the TP lineup with the Hoop Walk bike setup. And, of course, John Archibald with big plans for the track to come. He's the man in the middle at the moment, as pressing on in front, Cam Jeffers from St. Piran, a team that has really surprised a lot, and they punch above their weight. They are, of course, the top-ranked team from elite racing in Britain in 2018.
Absolutely, they're, as you say, they're really punched above the weight. And today, having Cam Jeffers in the front group along with Bradbury and John Archibald, some incredible firepower in that breakaway.
Yeah, behind who's going to get organised here is the Swift Pro Cycling squad trying to line it out on the front, and Pete Williams really sees the danger and the quality of the riders up front. Those three riders have established an advantage now north of 2 minutes, and it's going in the right direction for them, so it's danger signals behind.
Yeah, it looks like James Shaw's had a good word with his team and said, boys, I'm on a good day today, do what you can to bring that gap down.
Riding along at the back and continuing to tap out the rhythm on the front, Ed Bradbury presses on. Archibald feels pretty good as well today, but a little less so for Cam Jeffers. He's given as much as he's got today, starting to be distanced by his two breakaway companions.
Yeah, I think Jeffers is really suffering from that diet of just circuit racing in the last month, but it's great to see these two riders at the front, not willing to give it up, still riding strongly together and still pressing on here, so it'll be interesting to see how this gap's looking now.
So can John Archibald or Ed Bradbury manage to hold off the hordes behind? They're certainly going to try.
We like to control our own races, control our own destiny. All I want to do is improve on what we've done before, and everybody give me 110%, and if they do, we will be better. It's as simple as that.
We've got a team full of personalities, and that's what makes it fun.
Character is almost more important than whether they can or can't win, because I like to think the team can help them win, and we can help bring them on as a bike rider to get what they're capable of.
Everyone's really nice and it's good atmosphere. It's like a family feel, this team, so yeah, everybody's really up for it. Well, for us, obviously it's the win, so it'll be whatever it is we have to do to try and get there.
When you've got a strong team as well, it allows you to roll the dice a little bit more and take more risks tactically. You know, try new things in bike races rather than always counting on a bunch of sprints sort of thing.
We don't really wait for someone else to do it for us. We like to roll our sleeves up and get on with it, and we'll take a race on and hopefully it doesn't bite us.
They've been out there a long time now in the Lancaster Grand Prix as John Archibald and Ed Bradbury start to feel the pinch a little bit. The gap is starting to come down. It's still significant, sitting at 1 1/3 minutes, but can John Archibald and Ed Bradbury possibly hang on, considering the strength of the chase behind?
I think there's your answer. The full team on the front there in the dark blue, Canyon DHB, giving it full tilt on the front. It's going to be really tough for these two to hang out now, as we see it's down to 45 seconds. So they've taken a massive lump out of that in the last 10k. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here as we come out to 1 lap to go.
1 lap to go is down to the last 30 kilometres or so, but is it going to be enough? Well, 45 seconds looks as if it's curtains for this duo, but they're going to continue to press on. John Archibald knows no other way as they press on behind as well, and you get some sense of the intensity of the pace as we see the series leader, Matt Holmes from Madison Genesis. He's going to hit a little bit of a difficulty.
Yeah, Matt's went straight for a bike change there, if I'm correct. Looking at his bike, he was on disc brakes, so he didn't want to lose any more time than he needed to. Straight into his normal bike with rim brakes, get the water bottle, get it back in the bike, start chasing back on.
Yeah, Roger Hammond gets Matt Holmes back into action pretty quickly, so the series leader is going to try and get back on, but it's going to be no mean feat to get back up there because the quality of the chase, it's pretty intense at the moment as John Archibald continues to plough on regardless up front.
Yeah, not a great time to have any kind of problems in this bike race. As we can see, it's full chat right now, down to 25 seconds, so that chasing group is really shifting right now. You see Holmes now, what a job by Holmes to get back on here, using the cars, being intelligent. See his teammates looking around for him, and it looks like there's been a little bit of a truce now in this bunch.
So Matt Holmes will be a very relieved man indeed. So too will his Madison Genesis teammates, because he's managed to get back in. The series leader still with a great shot of scoring some very significant points in this, the third round of the series, as Archibald and Bradbury continue to plough on regardless, down to the final 10 kilometres now of this event, and can possibly John Archibald with Bradbury on the front Can they possibly hang on?
It's a tough ask. 10 kilometres at this kind of speed's roughly 15 minutes of work, so it'll be interesting to see what's happening behind as Archibald looks over his shoulder. And there's your answer, Declan.
Well, that's going to be it. It was a brave resistance for longer than many might have expected, but 3 riders up front, down to 2, and then eventually chased and caught by the peloton. The peloton indeed is down to a very reduced number. It has been a really bruising day out. Perfect conditions, perfect weather conditions, but this is a tough course.
No, absolutely. You can just see that being... Oh, looks like there's a move on the left there from one of the Canyon DHB riders. Nope, not yet. It looked like it was. They're trying to use their numbers now. There's roughly about 3 or 4 riders in here, and they need to start lighting it up. They need to be attacking. They need to wear this group down.
Mike Cumming at the back takes a drink as the attacks come up front from the Canyon squad. They've got the numbers in there and they need to start attacking each other. So it's Stewart that's decided to go, and he is the first one to try the softening up attack. And it's Mike Cumming indeed, having taken that drink, is going to try and cover it for Madison Genesis.
Yeah, you can see Stewart thought about it, told his teammates to ease off the front, and then he went full gas. But of course, Madison Genesis have to follow this. They can't allow a rider from Canyon DHB to go up the road, otherwise that puts them on the back foot, and they're the ones who are responsible for all the chasing.
Tom Stewart is clear of the field in the closing stages as he winds and twists his way towards the finish line, but it's up and down all the way, and they've got a really tough, grippy climb 3 kilometres from the finish, which is going to test the riders and split this group.
An absolutely brutal finish. You can just see, if you look up to the right hand side of the picture there, just how steep this hairpin coming up is going to be. It's going to be absolutely flat out up here as there's a little bit of finessing happening in the group behind. Max Stedman from Canyon DHB is trying to slow it down to give his teammate Tom Stewart a chance, but it looks like now it's on.
Well, he certainly did a good job of softening up the rest of the group. Tom Stewart's not going to work out for him as the climb of Condor Bottoms just comes, well, it's just a little bit too long for him. The attack and the powerful attack behind from James Shaw, it's significant.
An absolutely outrageous bit of power there. You can see Stephen Lampier just there in the orange, just trying to tag on at the back of this group from St Piran. He really needs to be there because he's got an opportunity now to gain more points than overall. As you can see, guys getting punted out the back here, left, right and centre.
Well, Stewart at the front a little while ago now finds himself fighting a rear guard action as James Shaw up front has Tullett for company. Bibby has managed to get in there as well. Ian Bibby, the local man, is hanging on grimly for the Madison Genesis squad. It's a select group and they're starting to draw clear of Max Stedman behind.
Absolutely, and just see the talent and the absolute class here of James Shaw from Swift Carbon Pro Racing. What a rider. And Max Stedman here with Ali Slater for company. It's only 10 seconds they've got across there, and that is going to be like absolute purgatory. You can just see Stedman looking over his shoulder, see if there's any more help there. I don't think he's going to get help from Slater just now, but he needs his teammate to look around and see that he's coming across and give him a chance.
Well, Max Stedman is the smaller of the 2 riders, but seems to ride a much bigger gear. He's grinding his way up this climb and starting to make inroads as Slater gives him a little bit of assistance as well, and up front Tullett goes to the other side of the road. Bibby goes to follow, and they're all wondering what's going to happen now as Lampier as well is in the middle of the road, and Shaw that decides to take it up. Shaw has decided enough is enough. The ex-World Tour professional has moved to the front, and Tullett immediately takes position behind.
And you can just see the difference there. Shaw is all over this. Those years of riding at World Tour have made his legs like granite. He's going to stomp all over this today, but you've got to be careful of the boys at the back. Stephen Lampier is an old fox. He knows how to win bike races. Now Bibby is willing to show some effort now in this group, really wants to press it on and wants to make sure that Stedman and Slater do not get back across to this.
Ian Bibby knows a thing or two about how to get to the finish line ahead of the rest. The 32-year-old, originally from Preston in Lancashire, stage victor in the Tour of Japan in 2018, among so many great successes over the years. And Lampier too has seen enough and doesn't want to let anyone back in here, so they need to keep the hammer down because Stedman's continuing to press on behind.
Tell you something, that's an impressive ride at the back there by Stedman, holding this group. As you know, they are messing around a little bit. Lampier, we've seen there, was not willing to let this stop rolling, so he put it straight in the gutter and kept on the pressure. But Stedman is still holding this gap at roughly 5 seconds.
Tullett from Team Wiggins gives a little flick of the elbow and calls Ian Bibby through to the front as they pile it on, but Bibby doesn't want to spend too long there. He wants to make sure that everyone contributes to this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're on this slight downhill section as we just pass a standard by on the road here. We can see now that it's all downhill and looks like Slater's now came to the front of that group of two just behind, and this is possibly this two at the back's opportunity to get back on and maybe cause a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, Shaw's freewheeling here, and Bibby knows that that's not going to work. If you can get on the pedals at all, you've got to try and stomp it and stamp your authority on this one to try and prevent the two riders coming from behind. Slater and Steadman still with a racer's chance of getting involved here, and Lampier knows it. The St. Piran man gives a little flick and calls Tullett into action.
1k to go, and every single one of these 7 riders are fully committed right now. This group looks like it's potentially going to come across as it looks like Slater is absolutely thrashing it down this climb, as him and Steadman are now coming on the back, carrying lots of speed. Are they going to go over the top?
Well, that would be the right play, wouldn't it, for Ali Slater from the Vitas Pro Cycling squad, as Max Steadman, his chaser, and now they become the hunted for the first time in a little while. And Ian Bibby spotted the danger of that, the man from Madison Genesis, in 3rd place, as his frantic activity behind. Tullett doesn't want to lose out here, and this little gripper coming up to the finish could be significant.
Yeah, absolutely. Right away you can see, though, Bibby was straight on that. The guy's got eyes in the back of his head. He's got this little kicker now before we start going into the last 500 metres. Bibby knows where he needs to be. It's a really technical finish here, so it's going to be the rider who's in the top 3 through these couple of corners before the finish are going to be the guys who are going to be standing on the podium.
Well, who's going to lead it out and who wants to lead it out? It's Bibby that's stalking. He's having a little look around, looking anxious. Tullett has done so much and he's sitting in 4th place. What about Shaw as well? The rider who's latterly been racing at World Tour level, and into the final couple of 100 metres as they charge back into the park where it all began 100 miles previously. And now who's going to emerge through to get the win? It's Ian Bibby for Madison Genesis that gets his arm in the air and gets the victory in the Lancaster Grand Prix.
Very impressive ride there by Bibby, just holding on there at the end. He knew where he had to be, and he sealed the deal today.
Well, perfect placing and perfect energy and athletic endeavour. So Ian Bibby gets the victory in the inaugural Lancaster Grand Prix.
I just sort of had in my head, if I can hang on here, I've got a pretty good chance at the finish. So I did that, and about a K to go was another kicker, and 3 lads were coming back and they hit us with a load of speed. I've had a really bad couple of months really, with like injuries on my foot and stuff like that, so I've not been very good time really. So I wasn't sure how it'd be, but it's you know, I go past on my training roads and friends here, so it's, if I could have picked one all year, it would have been this one. So luckily I could pull it off.
So in the overall standings, Steve Lampier of St. Piran moves up to the top, with Ian Bibby, winner of Lancaster Grand Prix, and Madison Genesis teammate Matt Holmes in 2nd and 3rd. And here's how the team standings look after round 3. And the OVO Energy Tour of Britain qualification looks like this. What a day we have had here at the Lancaster Grand Prix, and a hard-fought win for Ian Bibby of Madison Genesis. The next round is on Sunday the 16th of June, Circuit of the Mendips, another brand new race in the calendar. To stay in touch with the National Road Series and for everything else from the world of cycling, head to britishcycling.org.uk and follow the hashtag National Road Series. Until then, bye for now and see you next time.